Good morning and welcome to day 2 of the North Wales Pilgrims Way. Well, it's already been an interesting morning. I'd said hello, walked about 100 metres down the road and thought, where's my hat? I thought, I know where it is, it's on the wall. So I walked back, literally a minute away, and by the time I got back it had gone. So it's a warm day and no sun hat. Well, I was right, it's a hot day already. Kind of make our way across some fields, a few cows. Been watching a buzzard circling, shrieking, which is kind of calling. Kind of moved on to another little trackway now, in amongst the trees, a little bit of shade. So let's enjoy it while we can. It's very, very quiet. There is nobody else around, even though we're on the Llywelyn Way. The trail is essentially running along a valley bottom, some way behind the main ridge line. It's mainly farmland with the exception of a short woodland trail. It eventually starts to climb out through a number of fields as you make your way up to a tarmac road. You follow this along, passing by the old drover's pond of Llyn. That's the first section of the walk done. I can hear the A55 over the brow of the hill. So I'm just taking a little stop in the shade here, take on some water and just recuperate a bit. The A55 being the main highway across North Wales is one that I'll meet again, but for now it's back into the peace and quiet of the countryside. So we've had horse, we've had sheep, we've had cows, all the kind of usual things you find on this kind of walk, but I think I've kind of entered Jurassic Park now. They seem to be guardians of a smaller airfield. The path used to go straight across, but has been moved and cuts around the outside of the airfield now, although there's a plentiful supply of wild berries for those who are interested. It's a short section of tarmac next, but you get a sense you're being watched. That soon disappears though, as the wonderful vistas across the Vale of Clwyd open up to you. So the path is now descending down the side of the Llwydians as we're kind of going to move down into the valley here, and then the Pilgrims Way kind of moves across the valley floor and across to St Asaph. This next section of the route was great fun. One minute you were going up, next you were going down, as the path weaved its way along the valley. The path then opened out and the mountains of Snowdonia came into view. You could see them all: Snowdon, the Gliders, Trefor and Waen. You certainly had to stop more than once to take it all in, but you soon disappeared back into the pathways again and down through to a small section of tarmac, where after a small group of houses there was a sharp left turn down into a field. At the bottom there was this lovely little path that had been made to kind of get you round this really boggy and damp section. Nice little stile. Oh, no fence. Just caught sight of a little bell tower in the trees over there. So I think that is the church we're heading to, and that should be our first stamp of the day. You see the horse, but I think that's a bull as well. I think it's time to depart. Well, back out from the trackways and fields, back onto the tarmac. This little village is kind of one of our only villages on the route today. Obviously there's a nice little arrow of where we are. So we have a pub, a school, 1765. And then we have a church. Eglwys Corpus Christi has the intriguing Tremeirchion cross outside, or perhaps it was a pilgrim's cross. It dates from around the same time as the church, which is 14th century. Normally the church is closed and the pilgrim stamp is outside, but fortunately today I was able to look around inside. That's the kind of second leg done, and a nice little rest and just take on board a bit more fluid. The day is still very, very warm, but the clouds have kind of moved over and kind of covered up, so not getting the scorching sun, but humidity is still quite high, and it's certainly still a very warm day. It's actually really, really nice. So we're on the last leg now, so it's a little bit of tarmac, and then it'll be down into the valley and then across towards St Asaph, which is the destination for today. Well, we're still a few miles away yet, but I can already see, I believe, the Cathedral of St Asaph. The tower there is the cathedral. A tarmac road leads to a house where you'll find a hidden stile in the hedge. This then leads to a whole series of fields which you have to cross. This eventually emerges at a small tarmac road where you'll get the first opportunity to look back at where you came down the hill this morning. Another closed pub. There definitely seems to be a theme going on here. I haven't yet found one that was open. The trail then moves back into the fields where you descend down towards the River Clwyd. Birds can be seen fishing in the waters. There's a nice aluminium bridge that takes you across the river. It's also a good place just to take a rest and enjoy the scenery. It's uphill from here, but that does give you the opportunity to look back at the other side of the valley. You started from way behind those hills this morning and came down over there. There's a Jesuit spiritual centre there in the trees, but you weren't able to see that as you came down. Well, that's the last of the fields. Kind of on the outskirts of St Asaph now, and I believe I'm walking what was once a railway line that ran down this valley. Now St Asaph Cathedral pops into view. The cathedral at St Asaph is one of the larger sites on the pilgrimage. It was started in 1150 and didn't actually reach its present size till about 1400. It's reasonably austere apart from the organ, which looks quite new actually. There are two visitor areas where you can spend some time investigating the history of the site. There's also a cafe which is out through one of the side doors, but unfortunately it was closed on my visit. The exterior looks fine, although a little bit like a castle in some ways. Anyway, it's time to move on and down to the final church of the day. St Asaph Parish Church is quite simple compared to the cathedral, but it does have a couple of really nice stained glass windows inside it and is still well worth having a visit. It's the end of day 2. We've made it to St Asaph, and it's been a really, really good day's walking. A few interesting challenges along the way, but in general it's good. We've got our destination, we've got our free stamps, and we've done what we planned to do. So on to day 3.